My friend, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you has the entire Raider Nation buzzing beneath the surface. Just when it felt like the season was collapsing, when criticism was peaking, when every heartbeat in Las Vegas felt heavier than the last, something unexpected happened. And it didn't happen in Vegas. It happened in another state, far away from the noise, something subtle, something powerful, something that could shift the entire momentum of this Sunday's matchup. Most people missed it. Analysts didn't talk about it. Fans didn't notice it. But the intel I received, exclusive, behind the scenes, not yet public, might be exactly the spark the Raiders have been desperately waiting for. If this holds true, it could become the turning point the NFL never saw coming. Before I reveal how this surprising moment reignited hope for Las Vegas. Before we break down the real reason this could save the season. Before moving forward, take a quick second, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to press the bell icon. You don't want to miss the latest Raiders updates, especially when things are changing this fast. Alright, let's get into the new news. Right now, as the Raiders gear up for another do-or-die Sunday, the air in Las Vegas feels heavy. Every snap, every possession, every tiny mistake carries the weight of an entire fan base. What was once cautious optimism at the start of the season has now turned into a delicate balance, hanging by a thread as 2025 unfolds. The standings paint an unpleasant picture. But the emotional stakes? They tell a story 10 times heavier. Because this week isn't just any week. Losing now, especially to a rookie quarterback the Raiders could have drafted, would be the kind of symbolic defeat that stays in franchise memory for years. But here's the plot twist nobody saw coming: there is real, analytical, measurable hope, not wishful thinking. Hope built on matchups, tendencies, and cracks in the opponent's armor. CBS analyst Jared Dubin broke it down with precision. The Cleveland Browns look like a different team on the road. At home, they're disciplined, suffocating, and sharp. But on the road? Completely different story. They've surrendered 23 points or more in every single road game this season. The Raiders' offense isn't a top 5 machine, everyone knows that. But that defensive vulnerability? It leaves the door open, just enough for Las Vegas to push through. And this matters, because for all the chaos, one thing has quietly emerged: the Raiders' defense has been outperforming expectations, keeping this team alive when everything else feels unstable. Before that disastrous Monday night collapse against Dallas, a loss so out of character it felt like a glitch in the season, there was one unit that kept the Raiders fighting: their defense. They were fast. They were physical. They were disciplined. And when the offense stalled, it was the defense that kept this team breathing. And at the center of that unit stands one man, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, the coach now carrying the weight of the Raiders' season on his back. This week, Graham revealed just how unusual the challenge ahead truly is. Preparing for rookie quarterback Sanders isn't like preparing for any other NFL opponent. There's almost no meaningful tape. No extended film. No consistent patterns to study. So the Raiders are doing what smart teams do: they're digging deep. Graham and his staff have dissected every frame they can find: preseason snaps, tiny moments in his Ravens appearance, tendencies pulled from Tommy Rees' offensive philosophy, and the predictable structure Kevin Stefanski relies on. It's not preparation for a quarterback, it's preparation for a shadow. But make no mistake, Graham knows where the real battle is. Cleveland isn't coming into Las Vegas planning to sling deep balls all night. They're coming with muscle, with experience, with an offensive line that punishes defenses, and with running backs who never stop leaning forward. This is a ground-heavy system, and it has always been that way. That means Sunday isn't about flashy highlights. It's about war in the trenches. For the Raiders to keep their season alive, their defense has to find that early season identity again. They must win gaps. They must collapse running lanes. They must force Sanders into long, uncomfortable third downs, scenarios he hasn't been tested in at this level. Because if Las Vegas controls the trenches, they control the game. And if they control the game, the season, somehow, stays alive. This is the type of matchup where a single moment, a punch at the ball, a tipped pass turning into an interception, a fearless stand on 3rd and short, can flip the entire script. It won't be pretty. It won't be flashy. This is survival football, and strangely enough, that's where the Raiders have often shown their toughest identity. But here comes the part Raider Nation needs to hear clearly: the hope we see on the field is being overshadowed by something far more serious off it. Because the issues eating away at this franchise run deeper than a rookie quarterback or a Sunday afternoon battle. While the defense is out there fighting to keep Las Vegas competitive, the organization itself is tangled in a storm powerful enough to shake the very core of the team. If the earlier updates revealed a small spark of optimism for the Raiders, what comes next exposes a problem no defensive stand can fix. No unexpected win can hide. No late-season push can cover. Behind the scenes, leadership tension has reached a breaking point. After yet another loss, the 8th of the 2025 season, the Raiders look more than defeated. They look directionless. And at the center of this growing uncertainty stands one hard truth: Pete Carroll may no longer be the coach suited for the Raiders' future. When Vegas dropped to 2-8 after that brutal collapse against Dallas, fans expected a pivot. With the postseason mathematically fading away, this was the perfect moment to focus on 2026, evaluate young players, identify future starters, build the next core. But Carroll shut that door instantly. When asked about giving younger talent meaningful snaps, he repeated the same philosophy he has lived by for decades: winning comes first. Even in a season where winning no longer fuels progress. Then came the comment that stunned the fan base. Carroll said he does not know how to coach in a way that prioritizes development over winning. Honest? Yes. But revealing? Absolutely. Because that admission exposed exactly why the Raiders are in crisis. A team caught between rebuilding and chasing wins can't move forward in either direction. Pete Carroll is a legendary figure in NFL history, no Raider fan denies that. But legends fit certain eras, and right now, the Raiders aren't chasing a Lombardi. They're trying to rebuild an identity that has collapsed under the weight of inconsistency, frustration, and a lost direction. And that leads to the most uncomfortable truth for Raider Nation: Pete Carroll is no longer the coach for this chapter of Las Vegas Raiders football. And deep down, it feels like he knows it too. Inside the organization, everything points toward a quiet, respectful parting when the season ends. Not a dramatic firing, not a headline-grabbing dismissal, but an amicable separation, a carefully chosen phrase that lets Carroll walk away with dignity while signaling that the Raiders are ready for a new direction. But the moment you accept Carroll's exit, the next question hits even harder: who replaces him? And that answer is far more complicated. Bleacher Report's Moan laid out a 6-step blueprint to rebuild the Raiders in 2026, and step 1 was simple: move on from Carroll. But step 2 stunned a lot of Raiders fans. He suggested the Raiders aggressively target Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, as the next head coach. Yes, that would mean another coach from Seattle. Yes, another unproven leader with zero head coaching experience. And yes, another uneasy gamble for a fanbase exhausted by experiments. Kubiak is only 38. He's been part of 4 different coaching staffs in 4 years. And while he currently directs one of the league's most explosive offenses in Seattle, uncertainty looms: is he truly ready to manage an entire franchise? Is he capable of stabilizing a team desperately searching for identity and direction? Those questions haunt the conversation, because the Raiders cannot afford another risky misstep. Not now. Success as a coordinator doesn't guarantee success as a head coach, especially in a pressure cooker like the Las Vegas Raiders. And yet, Mart's proposal goes even further. He argues that with Tom Brady now part of the ownership group and GM Champ Kelly steering the roster, both should strongly consider pushing for Clint Kubiak as the next leader of the franchise. Kubiak does check some important boxes the Raiders desperately need in their next era: fresh ideas, a modern, flexible offensive system, and a quarterback-friendly approach that could finally give Las Vegas stability under center. But after him, the list becomes far more concerning. The next name floated is Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. Once celebrated as a college football genius for engineering the historic 2019 LSU offense with Joe Burrow, that shine has faded. Brady didn't build Josh Allen from the ground up, and the Bills' 2025 offense has taken a clear step backward. That raises a troubling question: if he's struggling to elevate an established star, how would he rebuild an offense that needs structure from scratch? So now the Raiders find themselves caught between a flicker of hope on the field and a wave of uncertainty off it. They're preparing to face a rookie quarterback they could have drafted. They're watching Pete Carroll's future quietly unravel. And they're evaluating potential replacements who each come with big risks and bigger unknowns, whether it's the inexperience of Clint Kubiak or the inconsistency of Joe Brady. Which brings us to the real question: is the turning point for the Raiders coming this Sunday on the field, or is it coming from the decision about who will lead this franchise into the future? Tell me if you want the outro or next section rewritten as well.